Welcome into Action Island, presented by FanDuel. Week 5, Thursday Night Football. Gilles Gallant, Sean Koerner, Nick Giffen, thank you for joining. I'm Meghan Payton. Darren Ravel will be joining later for a market report on the top bet props. Action Island is presented by FanDuel. It's the show for all things parlays. At the end of this, you'll have a 3-leg same-game parlay. Get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet $5 for new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You know, this is going to be more fun than people think. Commanders, Bears, on paper, not as exciting. I've talked with you fellas. We have a great parlay in store. If you're new to this show, it is really simple. The guys are going to give 2 bets. We'll vote one on, vote one off. You'll be able to bet this on FanDuel at the end of it, tail it, pick what you like. Make it an 8-leg parlay if you want. They'll all be presenting bets, and we'll give a bonus bet as well. Gilles, we start with you, the anytime touchdown prop master. Where are we looking for our first leg?
Yeah, we're going to go there right away, Megan. We're going to actually look on the Chicago side, and we're going to take DJ Moore for an anytime touchdown at plus 210. Now, he has scored a touchdown in the last 2 games and was almost seemed like he was like a throw-in for that trade that happened last year going into the draft. But they traded him to be the wide receiver 1 in this offense. He's playing over 95% of the snaps and looks to have the trust of Fields when the plays break down, which unfortunately for Bears, it seems to be a lot this season. So DJ Moore is kind of the beneficiary of that spot. And the Commanders secondary, they can be beaten. They've already allowed 6 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. That's tied for last in the NFL. And if the Bears end up trailing, I think Moore can get us home here in garbage time as well, like he did against the Chiefs in week 2. Now for DJ Moore, that's the first pick. On the other side, we're going to look at Curtis Samuel for an anytime touchdown. And now he scored last week on a jet sweep. And part of the reason why I like Samuel is the versatility on offense, because that's why Washington brought him in, so he can be able to have carries and receptions. 5 red zone targets already this year, along with 3 red zone carries. Outside of Brian Robinson, he's the only other Commander that has both red zone rushes and red zone receptions so far this season. And the Bears, that defense hasn't stopped pass catchers in the backfield all year. They've allowed 4 touchdowns allowed already from that spot, and 5 touchdowns allowed overall just to wide receivers. So Curtis Samuel checks both of those boxes. So Curtis Samuel touchdown or DJ Moore anytime touchdown are the first 2 selections for the same game parlay.
One thing about the NFL, it's kind of a repeat league. If something works, they're going to keep doing it until it doesn't. And with the jet sweep with Curtis Samuel, you just know offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, he's going to find ways to develop creative schemes to get Samuel in the end zone. And for DJ Moore, it feels like a lock. Over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns this season. Justin Fields starting to get that momentum with DJ Moore. Can expect to see him get a touchdown as well. Sean, Nick, let's get to voting. Who's going to get in the end zone for Thursday Night Football? Three, 2, 1. Where are we looking? Oh, the drawings are back. I'm upset. Curtis Samuel, the guy who had over 600 receiving yards last year and over 100 rushing yards. I love betting on a dual threat player. Yet I stand with DJ Moore, who feels a little bit more realistic in this one. Sean, why are you looking at Moore despite wearing the Washington Commanders hat?
Oh, yeah, that's for later. But I already locked in DJ Moore, longest reception over 21.5 yards. I just think he and Justin Fields are really clicking right now, especially downfield, which is where the Commanders have been vulnerable. So I like him to potentially get loose for a long touchdown tonight. So I love this pick.
I love Moore. I'm messing with you guys. He's top 25 in yards per reception. And one thing about Washington, they give up chunk plays. So Moore can really score from anywhere on the field. Nick, what were your thoughts with this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I'm a Commanders fan, so I really like the Curtis Samuel side of things. And we show a little bit more projection value on Samuel, but I went with DJ Moore specifically because I'm being a little selfish here. My two plays later, as you will see, are kind of, teasing a little bit here, foreshadowing. I think correlate really well with this. And in same game parlays, I like correlation. So I'm going to go DJ Moore, even though we're showing a little less projection value, just because I like the correlation here with my other plays that we'll see. And, I agree with Sean. I think there's a lot of potential, some big play upside for DJ Moore as well.
Nick, are you saying that we know what this parlay is before we tape on air? I'm kidding. You're foreshadowing to a great correlated parlay, which is why you can get a winning parlay. Sean, where are we looking for the second leg?
So for my first recommendation, I'm going to go with Justin Fields over 189.5 passing yards. He's cleared this in 3 of 4 games this year, and he looked sharp last week. And he's, like I said, he's really starting to click with DJ Moore. He's also scrambling a bit less this year. Last year, he scrambled on 16% of his dropbacks. This year, it's just down to 9%. So, he's leaning on his arm a bit more. Plus, the Commanders are a pass funnel defense. They ranked 9th in DVOA against the run, 23rd against the pass, though. And like I mentioned, they've been vulnerable downfield. They're allowing the 2nd most yards per game on pass attempts, 15 plus yards downfield. And Scott Novak is the ref for this game. He tends to call false starts and delay of games at a really high rate every year. And the Bears have been prone to both penalties this year. So every time they get backed up by 5 yards, it increases, the percent chance Fields is going to throw and the more yards that they're going to have to go. So I like that angle as well. But yeah, I'm projecting him closer to like 198.5. So I like the value we're getting on this one.
I love when Sean can give us a good ref stat to correlate our bet. Justin Fields he's staying in the pocket more. He's going to be throwing more. That's the goal. It was the talk all off season. He has gone over this number 3 of the last 4 games. He's averaging 215. If he can keep this momentum going, over seems like the play. And it seems like this line might actually switch the more and more we see consistency from Fields. Sean, where are we looking as a second option for the second leg?
So I'm going to go with Jahan Dotson over 3.5 receptions. He's a really talented second-year player who's yet to really have a breakout game this season. So I think it's a good time to buy low on him. He's been dealing with an ankle injury the past couple weeks, but they completely removed him off the injury report. So it leads me to think his ankle might be closer to 100% than I thought it would be going into this game. Plus, Sam Howell should have a clean pocket tonight. The Bears have generated the pressure at the 2nd lowest rate on the season. And typically Howell has targeted Dotson a bit more from a clean pocket. But they've only connected on 10 of those 19 looks, which is only a 52% catch rate, which is really weird because he's been extremely accurate to the other receivers from a clean pocket. So I think Dotson's due for some positive catch regression, and just overall, like, he's due for a blow-up game. So I like the over 3.5 receptions for him here.
I like the number 3.5. I feel like we were kind of confused because week 1, you see 7 targets, then it goes down to 5, then it goes to 4, and you think, all right, maybe Dotson's not going to be as big of a part of this offense. Yet it was 9 targets last week, 3.5 receptions. Feels like a great number. Nick, Gilles, 2 options for you. Jahan Dotson over his receptions or Justin Fields over his passing yards. Get to voting. Dotson or Fields, what's it going to be? Hey, don't you love it when we all agree? Jahan Dotson stays in. Justin Fields, we're not ready to bet on you just yet. Jahan Dotson due for a breakout game. Gilles, why'd you choose him over Fields?
Yeah, I think Dotson is going to have just a little bit more success, especially because this line at 3.5, I thought this was going to be closer to 4.5. I think he's going to have 5 catches in this game. I think it's going to be fairly easy for him to get over to 4 catches in this against this defense. And so that just means that I like it a little bit more. That doesn't mean I don't like the Fields pick as well, because I think Fields is going to have a decent game throwing the ball, because that's really where you can exploit the Commanders. But Dotson at 3.5, I had to take that.
Yeah, he's a talented number 2 receiver. There's a reason they went and got him in the first round. He plays bigger than his size, and I like him to get over 3.5 receptions. Nick, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Sean's buy low point here. I mean, if you look at Dotson, he only played 72% of snaps last week, but every single other week he's played at least 85% of snaps and even had a game over 90, actually at 94%. So I think we'll see him on the field a lot. And, at that point, I think there's every opportunity against a pretty weak Bears defense overall. So it just seems like a great spot to buy low on somebody who you just had a little bit of dip in his usage and should come back up.
We're buying on these two defenses to have a weaker game. Right now, we've got two legs to this parlay. Nick, where can we look for our third leg?
Yeah, we're going to have a little fun here. And like I said, in that first leg was Gilles' pick. Both of my plays correlate with it. So you'll have to figure out for you guys which one. But number one, I'm going to go out of left field a little bit. And we're going to take the Chicago Bears defense to score a touchdown at 8-1. Now, this is the defense only. This is not special teams included. But this is really like a kind of a Sam Howell fade, essentially. So Sam Howell, he's got a 15% bad ball rate, which is essentially just passes defended. So 15% of the passes he has thrown have been defended by the defense, and that is one of the worst rates in the league. And about 20% of all bad balls end up as turnovers. He also takes way too many sacks. I mean, he's at a minimum of 4 sacks allowed in every game so far this year, and quarterbacks own that sack stat. So I'm not really worried about the Bears having the second lowest pressure rate in the NFL because he faced Denver earlier this year, and they have the lowest pressure rate in the NFL and got 4 sacks on Howell, as well as defended 4 passes themselves. Washington also has the second highest pass rate versus expected in the NFL. So there's gonna be a lot of dropbacks, which means a lot of opportunities for sacks, a lot of opportunities for interceptions if he's not getting sacked. And Washington's already given up 2 defensive touchdowns this year, both through Sam Howell. That includes one against Arizona, which has generated the 5th lowest pressure rate so far this year. So again, I'm not worried about the Bears' low pressure rate, their low sack rate. This sack rate and bad ball rate are quarterback-owned stats, and that's just a Sam Howell fade. I'm projecting this closer to like 6-1, and that's kind of a conservative estimate. So I really like 8-1. For my second pick, we're going to stay correlated. If I like the Bears to get a touchdown, if I like DJ Moore to get a touchdown, why not just go with the Bears +6? I think there's a lot of recency bias against them because they did just blow that big lead to the Denver Broncos. But based off of expected score, our expected score metric, which drives the luck rankings, they should have won that game. And they're the unlucky team in our luck rankings as well compared to the Commanders. Also, for our director of research, Evan Abrams, road winless teams this far into the season are 57-37 against the spread over the last 94 games. That's 20 games above 500. And as Sean mentioned, that ref Scott Novak has absolutely no problem calling penalties against home teams. He calls them just as much against home teams as he does against road teams. So he's one of the top refs in terms of like not letting the crowd, not letting the home field influence any kind of penalty calls there. So that removes a bit of potential home field advantage for the Commanders. Finally, sounds like Tevin Jenkins, offensive guard, is going to be active, will help a ton because he has huge upside in terms of both run blocking and pass blocking versus his backup. So Bears +6 is my second pick.
Nick, are you crazy? You must be crazy. You're presenting me one option of spinach and asparagus, and on the other side, I've got cheeseburgers and milkshakes. We're talking Bears to cover or Bears defensive touchdown at +800. We can find a lot of fun stats to back this up, but Bears defensive touchdown at +800. I like the look of it being a fade on Sam Howell. Sam Howell has the worst sack rate in the NFL thus far. He threw 4 picks, yes, against a really good Bills defense. That leads to turnovers, which leads to obviously defensive scoring. Or play it safe, say, hey, this Bears offense is improving. DJ Moore connection with Justin Fields is going. Cole Kmet's getting in the end zone a bunch. We'll just take Bears to cover. Sean, Gilles, are we going crazy and making a fun parlay with a ton of odds? Or are we playing it safe? Let's start voting. Three, 2, 1. What are we doing here? Okay, you guys did it. I was too scared. And honestly, I love it. Sean, Gilles, Nick, we're going hard. We're taking Bears defensive touchdown at plus 800. Here's the other thing. Nick's not throwing this out there just for entertainment purposes. There is reasoning to back this. There is a reason behind the madness. Gilles, what are your thoughts on Bears defensive touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, I'm voting for Carnage. And I've also learned in my time at Action, I do not go against Nick and his projections as far as fair odds are concerned. So if I'm showing value here, I think we have to go for it. Plus, the other thing that I would just take a walk down memory lane. The last time Chicago played in Washington, it was Case Keenum at quarterback. He had 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles against this Bears defense. Not the exact one, obviously, but pick 6 pretty much right off the opening drive. So I feel like we've got some correlation, a little bit of a numerology here. We're going with that.
We have a great 3-leg parlay. Sean, why are you adding a little bit of craziness to the madness with throwing in the Bears defensive touchdown?
Well, I mean, it's Bears Commanders. It's already kind of like an iffy matchup. So let's go with the fun parlay here. Plus, anytime Nick gives like a long shot like this, it is as appetizing as like burgers and fries or whatever. Like, sign me up for this. So DJ Moore, long touchdown to like start the game. Sam Howell starts having to throw it around, throws the pick 6 or whatever, and he's targeting Jahan Dotson all game. So I think this could hit.
Hey, I mean, I feel like Nick's just looking out for the NFL fans. They saw the Commanders Bears on the schedule for Thursday Night Football and said, this is not going to be a good one. Nick says, wait. You're going to have some real stake in this one. I'll go over this 3-leg parlay. I'll also throw in a bonus bet. First, let's bring on Darren Rovell to get the latest market report. And where is everyone betting? Where are the player props going, Darren? That if we didn't, when we touch base on Friday or when we celebrate next Thursday on this show, the parlay payout is at plus 4,507. We've got Bears defensive touchdown, DJ Moore anytime touchdown, and Jahan Dotson over 3.5 receptions. And I don't know why you'd need more of a payout, but here's my bonus bet. This could be the most basic one possibly. We're going with Brian Robinson anytime touchdown, 3 rushing touchdowns this season, 1 receiving touchdown, and he's going up against a Bears defense that's bottom 10 in rushing yards allowed. If you add that, now we're at a crazy plus 8,000 for our parlay. Do as you will, add on as many bets as you will. We'll catch you here next time on Action Island to hopefully celebrate the big payout of this 3-leg parlay. Gilles, Sean, prop bomb. I don't know why I'm saying that. Nick, thank you for being with us. Darren, appreciate you coming on. We'll see you here next time on Action Island.